Hi guys, so this video is a continuation of the last one where I talked about how to apply for your visa yourself. So if you've not checked that video out, maybe it will be hard to follow up on this one, so you can just check out that one first and then come back to follow up. So in this particular video, I'll be talking about step by step on how to applying to your UK study visa. By now you should have all your documents intact, and just what is left is application. By documents I mean by now you should have your proof of funds, the statement of account, you've probably printed it out, you should have your WAEC, of course, your birth certificate, passport, the data page of your passport, your TB test, degree certificate, just basically everything, NYC certificate, your study gap details and everything. So let me just briefly talk about I'll speak bad English. Let me briefly talk about study gap details. Now, if you're applying to UK study visa for your masters in 2025, for instance, and you finish school in 2017, this means you have a study gap of 3 plus 5. I'm bad with math, sorry. 3 plus 5 is 8. Yeah, this means you have a study gap of 8 years. So UKVI, that's the embassy, wants to know what you've been doing within that 8 years. So you need to submit a document that covers that period of time. It doesn't have to be 8 years worth of document you get, but you need to submit something that shows your study gap. So three things they usually ask for. They usually ask for your bank statement from where you worked, okay, within that period. They usually ask for bank statement, your employment letter from any of the places you work, or a reference letter from any of the places you work. So if you don't have a statement of account, you should have like an employment letter or a reference letter from where you work. Like I said, it doesn't have to cover, for instance, if you did 8 jobs within 8 years, the document doesn't have to be 8, because of course there are limits to the number of documents you can submit at the same time. Okay, so you can have 3 within the period, or 2, even 2, but just make sure that you have something that is valid. Okay, so that's out of the way. Next thing is to log into UK government website, like the official website. I think I'll include that too in the description box, or maybe on the screen, I don't know. Log into the website and then register. They'll ask you a few basic questions like, are you from an EU country? Where would you want to do your biometrics? All these things to ensure, to know the kind of like interface, I mean, what they call it, to know the type of visa application or shade of what am I saying? They'll ask you basic questions before you now officially start applying, just so that they know like your level or where you are at. For instance, are you a Nigerian living in the UK? Are you a Nigerian living in Nigeria? Basically. So when you've done the basic registration, they now redirect you to where you now start your visa application proper. So you guys, I have my laptop here because I used to have the form. I tried to check my file. I realized I think I didn't come with it. So I used to have the physical paper, because when I went for my biometrics I printed out the physical paper, but I think I misplaced it. So I'll be reading from my MacBook. If you can't see a MacBook, ask God to clear your eyes. So basically, like I said, everything is written in plain English. The good thing about this application is you can always save and come back later. So if you are stuck at some point and you don't know what to fill at some point, you can stop, ask questions, come back and continue. Like I said, you can ask your school rep. You can even send an email to UKVI or their helpline or whatever, and they'll respond to you. That's how easy it is. So let's go over. They'll ask you your name. All these ones are very basic things. I will not go through that. I will not talk about it. Your name, date of birth, country of nationality, passport number. I'll just be talking about like some control or confusing questions, okay, that they will ask you, and then the possible answer. Email address, travel information. They'll ask you, will you be traveling to the UK with someone who is not your partner? You know, get boyfriend now, so who will they travel with? You say though, you answer sharp. Me, I just they talk about myself. Oh, Lua. Then they'll ask you the date you plan to arrive in the UK. Now this is tricky. You can actually pick any date, but usually you should be in the UK, like the least amount of time you should be in the UK is a month to your study. For instance, you can't go earlier than a month to your study. So for me, I now picked a month to my study. My school was going to resume on the 20th of January 2025. What am I saying? You just go a month here. So I picked a date that is a month to my resumption. You get, Abby? Yeah, I know you do. Then they ask you your course fees, you answer. Then they ask you how much you have paid. Now, although this is reflective in your CAS, I didn't even add, you need your CAS document too. You also upload it. So they'll ask you the amount you have paid. Now, of course, you know you can't try to bamboozle them, okay? So they ask you the amount you have paid in fees. That is the deposit you've paid. So you include it, okay? Include the amount you have paid in your school fees. Then they'll ask you, how can you prove that this amount has been paid? Of course, you have a CAS, so you tell them you fill it as CAS. So they ask you name of sponsor institution. That's the university you're going to. So mine is Leeds Beckett University. So are you going to be a student union sabbatical officer? No. I said no. So if you are going to be, you said yes. So qualifications you will get. I have here RQ F7 blah blah blah. That is where your school rep comes in. They tell you now when you click on qualifications you get a couple of different options. So your school rep will tell you the particular code and whatever. That's where he or she comes in. Ask you your course name, your course start date, your course end date. Mind you, your course start date and your course end date is on your CAS. So if you can't remember, look at that document and you would see it's so simple. Then what type of sponsor will you be studying with? That is the same thing you need to ask your school rep. Higher education provider with a track record of compliance. That's what she asked me to fill there. Like I said, when you are confused, pause, you can save and then ask questions and come back. Don't go and feel what you don't know. Then they'll ask again, ATAS. Do you need to obtain permission from the ATAS? Some courses, what is ATAS? I think I will include it when I check it out. But some courses like in the technology field or whatever requires that ATAS. So if your course requires it, you can say yes. If it doesn't, of course, no. So they'll ask you nationality. Those ones are basic. They'll ask you for your national identity number. Yes, I included that. Issuing authority, National Identity Management Commission. They ask for my address. I added my address. Yes. How long I've lived in the address? I wrote 16 years. I live for my papa's house for 16 years. I've been living in my father's house for 16 years. Like, ooh, okay. So they now ask who you live. Life is so private, you guys. Nobody knows I went on a short break to delete some content on my phone because my phone just notified me that my space is full. Hey! God, when? Anyways, guys, let's get back in. There was a break in transmission, but let's get back into it. So they asked where I stay, and I said my father's house. They asked for a phone number, asked me if they can communicate with me via text. Provide your telephone number, which I did. Where do you use this telephone number? For use while in the UK or for use while out of the UK? I chose both because that's the mobile number I'll be using for both. Then they asked me for my passport details. You include your passport details, the issue and expiry date. Make sure you confirm these dates from your passport. Like I said, any small mistake can lead to a denial. So don't make any mistake. In fact, there's no room for that. They asked for dependent details. Of course, I don't have a dependent, so I said no. If you do have a dependent, this is the part where you fill their separate information, okay? So they asked for my parents' details, my mom's name, date of birth, nationality, my father's name, date of birth, that. I filled that, which is simple. Then they asked for employment. They had a couple of lists, a list, and asked whether you've worked in any of these industries. So usually they'll ask if you've worked in the media, military, all of those things, okay? So I said no, I never work in on any of these things, okay? So look at those options and ensure that you have not worked there before you say no, because mind you, you're going to submit documents, supporting documents from your previous employers and all of that. So make sure that they correspond. Don't go and say no, you've not worked in the military and then you have references from the military. So do you have a family in the UK? This is the point you answer. So for me, if you have a blood relative in the UK, you can say yes. If not a distant relative, don't stress yourself. Although the answer yes or no doesn't affect your visa application, but like I said, don't stress yourself, okay? So do you know where you'll be staying in the UK? I said yes, because my school rep said I should just use my the school address. I shouldn't use my brother's address. So I said yes, and then I used the school address. Will you be staying anywhere else? I said no. Do you have a travel history? They ask you your travel history. Have you been issued with a UK visa in the past 10 years? No. Have you been to the UK in the past 10 years? I said no. So they will not ask you a couple of other questions. Have you entered illegally? Have you remained beyond your visa? Have you been given false information? Have you breached any UK law? You now answer. They'll not ask you again, have you been refused a visa? Yes or no. Now, this is the point where you declare your refusals. A lot of people don't declare their refusals. Now, I know a lot of people that did not declare their refusals, but they still got a visa. But don't be unfortunate. What if they choose to investigate and they realize that you have been refused a visa and then you lied to them? Look at you, see 10-year ban, okay? So if you have been refused a visa, this is the point where you acknowledge it and tell them that yes, you have been refused a visa. Yes. So they'll ask you how many times you have visited the following countries: US, whatever, Switzerland. They'll list it here. So if you have visited any of these countries, identify. If you haven't, say no and move on. Then they will ask you for your other travel history. Have you ever been involved in any terrorist activity? They will ask you to know whether crimo is coming to the UK. So if you're not a crim, if you're not a crim, you say no to all of these questions. Have you been a member of any extreme organization? No. Have you been undertaking any Have you as part of your employment or otherwise undertaking paid or unpaid activity on behalf of a UK government? Which all these things are plain English. It's a yes, or this section is a yes or no answer. So you just keep answering. Then they ask you for any convictions. Yes. Extra information. Now this extra information part is the part where you have to answer any other additional details. Let's just say, for instance, you've had any refusal for maybe a flimsy reason. You can add in the extra information that although you submit a supporting document like your refusal document or whatever, but basically the extra information is if you have any other thing that might impede your visa application, you just add it there. If you don't have anything, leave it. Just tell them this, and that's all. So if you have any extra information, anything that you know that if you don't clarify, it may affect your visa application, this is where you include it. So they'll ask you for your sponsor's license number. If you are self-sponsored, you now include the name of your school. If you have a scholarship, then it could be what's it called, your scholarship board. The people who are paying for your school fees, they'll now become your sponsor. So did you apply through UCAS? If you apply through UCAS, you say yes. If you don't, UCAS is whatever, a body. It's more like an intermediary between you and the school, something like that. So is this the site where the majority of your study would happen? That's the address I put, my school address I put as my sponsor. I said yes. So confirmation of acceptance for study reference number. So your CAS reference number, they'll ask, then you include it. Again, cross-check to be sure you're putting the right numbers, okay? So they now ask you, are all your maintenance funds required for this application in a bank account with your name on it? Then again, emphasis with your name on it. For UK study visa, your proof of funds has to have your name or your parents' name, not your uncle's name, not your spouse's name, not your boyfriend's name. It has to be your name or your biological parent, the name that you have included that are your parents' name. For instance, my papa name na Donatus Omike, my mama name na Maslina Omike. My proof of funds can either be my name or in my parents' name. There's no proxy, there's no other third party accepted by the UKVI, okay? So they will ask you, have you provided evidence of your English language ability in a previous application? Of course, your school needs WAEC. Most UK schools don't require IELTS, so they ask for WAEC instead. So, of course, you've done that. So they ask if you have scholarships, if you're on student loan. Of course, you know what to answer. So, and then that's all. That's all. So they also ask you for your BRP code. Well, all those ones are not necessary now because they already changed it to e-visa. And then when you are done filling all these things, you now pay your visa fee after you have filled it, and then your IHS fee. IHS fee is your health surcharge. Now, your health surcharge is automatically calculated based on the duration of your course. So if your course is 1 year, the IHS cost is different from when your course is 2 years or 1 year and 6 months. So after filling all these things I mentioned, you will now be redirected to pay your IHS fee first. After that IHS fee, that's when you can now pay your visa fee. So I don't know which card works, but I used my brother's card to pay. But of course, before then, you have to make inquiries on the particular card. Most likely, a dollar card would work and all of that. So yeah, that's it. So after that, after your payment, that is when you now upload your documents. You guys, hold on. Do you know that people actually pay to upload their documents at the visa processing center? It's funny, Abby. Yeah, well, people do. People do. Like, people pay like 50-something K to upload a paper document. You guys, let's just assume this is your proof of funds, and or this is your degree certificate or your employment letter or your reference letter. All you need to do, as this document is like this, is to snap it. Snap this document with your phone. If you have cam scanner, scan it. And don't do color, just scan it as black and white or as colored as it is. Scan it and upload it to your visa portal by yourself with your phone. Some people carry all these documents physically to the visa application center and give it to them to scan for them, and they are paying over 50 something K. Like, I'm looking at young people and I'm, oh, my body go, they pepper me. I'll say, which kind pro, why are you wasting money? And you have a good phone, you have an iPhone 13, you have an iPhone 14. I carried my own outside my door where light will shine on it and snap it and upload it, scan and upload. Why are you paying people for a simple thing you can do by yourself? Okay? So all these documents I mentioned, your cars, your proof of funds, your birth certificate, your tuberculosis test. I don't know if I mentioned that. Tuberculosis test, your employment letter, reference letter, statement of what account from your previous employer, all these things. Snap, scan, upload. You don't need to go to any cyber cafe. Use your phone. Use your phone to do it. Okay. Another thing, after doing that and uploading, you can now fix your biometrics date. Now, basically, it will redirect you to the visa application center site where you can pick a date. So pick a date that is more convenient for you, arrive early on that day, and then do your biometrics. Biometrics is a simple thing. It's just for you to, it's just for them to take a picture of you. That's all. So a lot of people, while doing the biometrics, they pay for courier for your passport, because while you're going for your biometrics, you go with your physical passport. Okay, so after the whole biometric process and your visa is out, they send it to you. So if you pay for courier, they just send it to you because you have paid. Okay, so if you live in Lagos or you live in Abuja, wherever you did your, if you stay close to those places, there's no need to pay for courier. You can come by yourself when it is ready, because they'll send you a text. But if you pay for courier, you get a text that your visa is out. You can just wait at home and they will deliver to you. So there are a lot of other in between things I cannot remember right now. But if you, let me talk about priority service. Hey God, how can I forget? So usually you pay higher for priority service. Let's say you apply and deadline is really close, you can pay for priority service. I think it's around £500 thereabout. So with priority service, your visa can come out like in 3 days, in 2 days, depending on how fast, I'm sorry, this thing is looking like it's shaking. Depending on how fast they handle it. So priority visas come out faster, while the regular one takes 3 weeks. 3 weeks if you don't have issues. Now, a lot of people would have issues, like if you've had a previous refusal, it will take a longer time. Or if your documents are looking fishy, you did not submit enough documents, all of that, it may take a longer time. But the standard time is 3 weeks. That is why I said submit all your documents, submit the correct documents, make sure that everything you have, everything is intact, and you submit them as at when you do that, you will not have any glitches. Okay, so basically that's it. Expect your visa by 3 weeks or even less. Some people get theirs in less than a week without paying for priority. Okay, so if you're not in a hurry, let me even add that if you're not in a hurry and all your documents are complete and everything, don't go and waste your money and pay for priority. That's it. So but if you are in a hurry, like maybe your deadline is really close, and of course, but if not, that priority, nothing did there. Anyways, like I always say, I know that there are a lot of in-between things and that I probably haven't covered, because maybe after this video, now that's when I'll be thinking, hey, I should have said this, so I didn't add this, so I missed out on this. So if you have that question, like I said, I'm supposed to do a Q&A on this channel. God, when am I going to summon the courage to do a Q&A? But by the way, I think I'll plan on really soon. If I get a lot of responses, most likely I'll do it. Okay, so basically that's all for this video. I wish you good luck in your application. I know this video is even coming a bit late because I'm supposed to do it like earlier. A lot of people have already started their process, but if you have not started their process, if you have not started your process, I hope you find this video helpful, and then share to your friends who probably need it. Like I said, ask questions. And I am my MacBook is thanking you for staying tuned. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.